And we are live from OpenCon in Berlin, Germany. I'm Christina Hendricks. I'm with Virtually Connecting. And we've got a bunch of people online today. We'll start with the people who are on site. Could you please introduce yourselves?
Go ahead. Sure. My name is Siko Bouters. I'm from California, the United States, and I coordinate and help run a project called Whose Knowledge, which is focused on building more knowledge on the internet that comes from marginalized communities around the world.
I'm Tara Robertson. I think I just screwed up the camera. I do accessibility work in libraries, and I recently started doing diversity and inclusion at Mozilla. So the four of us were just on the diversity and inclusion and equity panel, and we really killed it. We did a really good job.
My turn. I'm Denise Albornoz. I'm from Ecuador and Peru, and I work for a research network called the Open and Collaborative Science in Development, and we're trying to understand if open science can help address sustainable development goals, and we focus a lot on grassroots community definitions of open science.
Okay, it's me. Hello, I'm Thomas Boa. I'm from Cameroon. I'm working for a project called Project SOA. This project is focused to promote open science in French African-speaking country and Haiti. About me.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. So I will ask the people who are virtual to introduce themselves, and I've got Autumn and then Christian, and we'll go from there.
Is the camera here?
Kamel?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Christina. So I am Kamel from Algeria, North Africa. I am open access and open science activist, editor-in-chief of an open access journal of Algerian Journal of Natural Products. And I am in the national member of scientific journals. So we are putting new policies for open access. There is a big transition in North Africa, especially in Algeria. But this region are not visible because there is a language barrier. Yesterday I have learned more about on life because I am now in Algeria, and I think this region, because French spoken, it's not visible for the for other region. So publication are invisible, not indexed in the local journal. Most research documented physically. Absence of institutional repository, bad connection, digital divide, so many problem. So I am think voice of global South. We want to be visible for the global North, especially for open access journal and open science, open data, and all things.
Okay, thank you. So we're
okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It sounds like some of the stuff that Thomas was talking about, so maybe we can hear more from him later. So Autumn, can you introduce yourself? Oh, Autumn, we've got no audio. Yeah, I don't know why. Sorry, we'll move on and see if we can fix the situation. Sorry about that. So that's Autumn Keynes, and she's here. I can't remember where you're from, Autumn, but you can put it in the text chat. Christian.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Well, hi everyone. I'm Christian, coming to you from Hamburg in Germany, and I have to say you really did kill the panel, so thanks for that. I watched remotely, and it really was a great joy.
Thanks. Autumn just texted that she's in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Daniel, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm a biophysicist at the University of Virginia and joined remotely yesterday. Couldn't join remotely today, but did attend the previous OpenCons. And yeah, I'm interested in open science mostly, which is an aspect that I think hasn't been received much attention at the conference yet. I mean, by that I mean the process, showing the process, not just the results. And I'm very active on Wikimedia projects, which I think embody many of the things that we're talking about at OpenCon. And they should also get a bit more prominence than they had so far.
That's great. There was a bit about Wikipedia on the panel today, so maybe we can talk about that. Jim.
I'm Jim Stauffer, and I live in the northwest corner of Canada. Well, at least from most of Canada. I'm in the Northwest Territories in a small fly-in community, and my main job is adult education in the upgrading and preparation for post-secondary, around the edges of virtually connecting and lots of other online communities, because the way that this virtual attendance and virtual connecting for remote rural communities really has been a big thing in my learning life. So I'm not primarily a scientist, but been following a little bit of what's happening, and got some of the sessions. What for me was late last night. Really enjoy being part of this, and
okay,
that's me.
Thank you. Nate, you're next, and then Sakina.
Hi, are you hearing me okay? Yes,
Yes.
Looks like it. I'm Nate Angel. I'm in Portland, Oregon. I work on external communications with Hypothesis, the open source nonprofit web annotation technology. I've long been involved in open education, and I'm increasingly more involved in open science, journalism, and fact checking, thanks to Hypothesis.
Thanks. And Sakina.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? I hope. I'm Sakina Walji. I'm from the University of Cape Town. I work at the Centre for Innovation in Learning and Teaching as an online education project manager. And I've also been part of the Research on Open Educational Resources for Development project, ROR4D, and in particular looking at open educational practices and MOOCs. That's my interest area. I haven't ever been to an open con. It's on my wish list. Maybe it'll happen one day, but really, really pleased to be part of this. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So I will start with our on-site folks, and just a very general question. If anybody wants to reflect on anything that went on in the panel today, of course you all spoke. So you could talk a little bit about what you spoke about, or just maybe what struck you as a common theme, or anything that you want to share with us.
Well, I'll start. I didn't know what other people were going to talk about. And I think a lot of the talks kind of threaded together nicely in an unintentional way. Like there were some common themes around language, around who's involved in a process and who isn't, about neocolonialism. Yeah, I learned a lot about a bunch of new projects and new initiatives going on, but I think some of the themes were definitely kind of similar through the talks.
Is our sound not good? Sorry, I'm just seeing the chat and wondering if you can hear us.
I could hear you, Siko, but the previous speaker was hard to understand. So please come closer to the microphone if you're speaking.
Okay.
Can we pass it around?
Yeah, we can bring it a little bit closer.
Sort of. Maybe let's like
Hold
turn
it.
off the camera of this one too. Oh, it's already turned off? No.
No, well, that's the only way they'll see you.
Oh, isn't that the camera we're using?
Well, yeah, but it's
Confusing. Sorry. Okay, we'll try this, and you can let us know how it goes. I think a couple of things struck me. One is, even with all of the sort of differences in what everyone was talking about, and I was really, really so excited to hear, you know, the perspectives that everyone was bringing. One thing that struck me was just the importance of asking questions, right? And to see for how many of us the questions start with whose is you know, was just interesting. And also thinking about what we do as conversations, as multi-directions, you know, sort of seeing some of those themes come up, you know, really, really struck me as well.
Wait,
I don't know if it'll.
there's not much.
there's no
It's not
battery?
much power.
Okay, I'll just move. Oh no, we're sorry. Okay, so for me, honestly, I'm at a loss of words right now. I'm still processing a lot of what we discussed because it was, oh, thank you. It was amazing to share a stage with these amazing speakers and to learn about their projects. And of course, it's also very challenging because in my case, I was just, while they were talking, I was trying to ask myself a lot of the questions. And I think that something that I appreciated about the panel is that even in the Q&A, we got to talk about our personal experiences. And I'm really grateful and like thankful to you that you also incorporated the personal in your presentation, because so much of the work we do is political and the personal is political. And I think it's important to talk about those things out loud sometimes. And hopefully, I hope that people left like with a mission to be self-aware as well. That's what I hope. I hope that was the main takeaway, really. But yes, I'm sorry. I'm still processing a lot of what we discussed.
Okay. What I learned during the presentation or panel is I feel comfortable to know that I am not alone uncomfortable on the open movement. And hearing about all the other panelists was a very big experience for me. And a question arises after that, but if you are so many to feel uncomfortable on this movement, why we cannot make this change? But we are still keeping the same the same logic. But the majority of people involved in open access are uncomfortable with the way open access is open movement is moving now. But why are we cannot change the movement since we are many of them? So that is what I learned, and the question will rise which rise after the presentation.
Tara, did you want to add something to that?
So I'll just open it up now to other people. And many of us watched the live stream of your panel, but I think some people may not have. So I put the notes from the panel into the text chat. And just to let everyone else know that this was a panel on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the open movement and open access. So that's more or less what we're talking about here today. So I'll open it up to anyone who has a question or a comment. Go ahead.
Kamel?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. From yesterday, I am watching all conferences. I've seen a lot of new ideas about open access, open science, open data, but we need to put those ideas to be realistic. Sometimes some mission or some proposition are not realistic for example, for South, for global South. And I would to know how people help. Especially, I want to give you a small experience here in, for example, in Algeria about access for publication. Government put a national system for documentation online since 5 years ago, and every researcher has account to access, for example, Science Direct, Elsevier, and Wiley, and the other database. But the crisis starting this beginning of this year, all researchers haven't the access for the database because we cannot pay a lot of money for those big publisher. So Algeria now is out of connection. Because I am a professor of chemistry at university, we give some links, for example, some website, for example, the C-Hub, for students to download articles. But starting this month, for example, from ResearchGate stop to share any publication in private account. And after this, C-Hub also is not ordained in the United States. Researcher or PhD student cannot download articles, paper, scientific. So how possible for OpenConf, for this community to share open access for humanity, for global South? This is my questions. Thank you.
Question was, I didn't hear, can you?
The question is, how do we better share open access stuff in the humanities with the global South?
Or from the global South?
Okay. So you are from Algeria, so all of us you are speaking French, and I also have a colleague in Algeria, Sami Ashadi. I'm sure that you, who is it, Professor Sami Ashani, who helped our project set up. And what we did in our pages, Project SOA, we did a guide to help students how to find a scientific paper in the web, in the free web, open web, if you want. And steps are clearly defined. It is in French. I can share it with you. Who has the contact of? We can share the pages with you. Is in French, so all the steps is described. So one by one, you can begin by choose your keyword, which platform do you have, Google Scholar, or if you don't find, since Google Scholar don't give a mixed kind of research paper, free, open and close. You can also use Base. The base engine of research. So we have described all these steps, and the final the final weapons, because we are advising the use of Sci-Hub, because for us the knowledge should not be closed. The knowledge is a common. The knowledge belongs to everybody. So in our case, we are advising the use of Sci-Hub. This is our final weapons. If you have not succeeded to find your paper, and many our network are very glad for due to these pages. And now what we are saying is that before these pages were, before we are creating these pages, in many theses, the literature review was very old. So because people are just finding very old references for their thesis, but now working with recent reference due to our advice in these pages. And since connectivity is a very big challenge in our context, but it's a challenge, but many people are connected through, are using Facebook and WhatsApp. Facebook is criticized, but Facebook is our platform to share strategy, to share knowledge. And we have a network of more than, near than researcher. I speak a lot. Am I answering to your question?
Thank you for clarification, but I know that many things we can get from CHEP, but you know, Elsevier give a new ID only last month that they want to put geolocalization, geo open. I mean that will open access gold, open access for the north, and maybe green open open for the south. This geo openness makes a difference between the north and the south. You know, ResearchGate stop to share your our. I have put a lot of papers on my ResearchGate, but starting 2 weeks ago, I cannot share my papers with other other people, only with my co-authors. It's stupid, but you know that Elsevier want to use geolocalization, but I think this idea is still stupid, because open a science for Earth for all, share our knowledge for all, and we need the North look for the South, because for the impact factor. For example, for me, I am editor-in-chief of journal, and I rarely received the paper from the north, because my journal is not visible, and maybe can be taxed as a predatory journal. Well, you know that all journals from the south, for example, from Nigeria, from China, from India, there are some journal, a good journal, but someone are predatory journal. So why there is no visibility for the South journal for the North?
Usually it's 40 minutes, so it should be 10 past.
But one of the questions I asked after the meeting was who is funding open access movement now? Who is funding the movement now? Does it hear also?
Yeah.
Who is funding the movement now? It's like the devil. The devil becomes the angels, you know. I don't know if you understand me. Those who we are fighting people who are funding the movement.
You know, for example, for North Africa, For example, I give you our small experience in North Africa. For example, in Algeria, we have about 480 journals, but almost those journals are print journal. And our government put new policies for those journals to be more visible globally. So we put a new platform, Algerian scientific journal platform. This is platform. Now they indexed about 377 journal. But the problem with those journals need funding, and no funding from, for example, from the north. And from our government give only we are only volunteer for this. I am editor of Chef as a volunteer, and we cannot ask for APC. So no APC for those journals. Give a fund. We are looking for example, for community or for some association to help those journals to be visible globally.
I'm sorry, we have to move on because we have one more question or two, and the panelists have to leave.
I just wanted to say, it's been a really long day here, and I think we're all about to fall over.
Okay.
I think someone needs this room. I know. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, but I think the rest of us here are exhausted. So we're going to pass it over to Rajiv.
Sure.
Feel free to reach out to us. Sorry, and feel free to reach out to us in Twitter. In Twitter, if you want to. Sorry. Yes, it's been a very, very long day, and also we're processing a lot of what happened in the panel. But feel free to reach out to us on Twitter if you want to.
Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can continue. Anybody who wants to continue to talk here, I'm going to turn off the broadcast. I can't stay for too much longer either, but I will keep running it for as long as I can. So thanks to all on site. Stopping broadcast now.